Welcome to the Glory of Growth podcast. My name is Jyoti, and in this episode, we're going to be discussing something which I believe to be really, really powerful, especially if you are trying to achieve some goals. This is something which doesn't get spoken enough about when it comes to achieving goals. So, if you are a purpose-driven business owner, or you're looking to become one, and 2026 is a year where you're going to be transitioning into the highest, most embodied version of yourself. And it's the year where you're going to be building conviction inside out. Then this podcast is for you. You've likely come across the word distractions, or you have been navigating distractions in your life in one way or another. Maybe you're easily distracted and you struggle to regain some focus. You've likely tried multiple different ways of not being distracted, and you're frustrated of progress feeling slow and momentum being low. Most people just make the assumption that it's because your brain is stupid, or you're not smart enough, or you have a slow brain. But that's not true. And that's the myth that we're going to be busting in this episode. Because the truth is, as you have already seen in the title of this podcast, that it's not just about reducing distraction, but it's actually about increasing attraction. Because when attraction increases to where you want to go, actions feel efficient and effortless, and you finally begin to build trust that your dreams are not an illusion, but they're actually more than reasonable. So let's get into it, because if anything that I've said resonated with you so far, then there will be value in this podcast for you. And if anything that I've said has resonated with you, then I just want you to know that you're not distracted, you're just not attracted enough. That sounds really weird, but the opposite of distraction is attraction. Let's start with an example. Example A, okay? I want you to think of a time in your life where you had a trip, you had a holiday, you were really, really excited about going something or doing something. Maybe it was spontaneous. Maybe it was a celebration. Whatever it was, I want you to think about something which came up or something that was coming up, and you had a very short amount of time left to organize everything. And before you went and did that trip or that celebration, you had a to-do list, a deadline, a presentation at work, something which had to be done, which requires a lot of effort, or usually would cause you a lot of stress. Think about the number of things that you had to do before you could go and have that experience, or before you had that holiday. Did you have a deadline at work? Did you have an important presentation meeting, an important deal to close? Maybe you just had a big to-do list that you wanted to complete before you went and had this experience. Was there something or a list of things that in a different circumstance, in a different situation, you would have been overwhelmed? And there is no way you could ever have believed that in that short time you would have it finished. Something which would usually cause you stress, anxiety, overwhelm, mental overload, but you were just so excited and so amped up that you just got it done. Now let's move on to another example. Now I want you to think about another time of your life where you had a deadline, you had a list of tasks to do. There was something important you had to get done, and you knew initially that you had plenty of time to finish it. But every time you thought about starting, you got stressed, you procrastinated, you came close to starting, but you never completed it. And somehow, you still ran out of time. Maybe you did start it, but after the first few days or the first few attempts, you went full cold turkey. And for a reason completely unknown to you, you didn't touch it once after that. Because for some reason, you remembered that all of a sudden you had to change your bed sheets. You decided to finally schedule in that catch up with that friend who you've been meaning to for months. All of a sudden, you remember that you used to play a lot of chess and you actually got really good at it. All of a sudden, you decide that now is the time to retry dating apps, because now you feel like it's really going to work for you. Because now you've had a glow up, it's a new year, and now this is going to be your time. So you go and make a new profile for your dating app. And when the deadline has come and gone, you reinforce the negative self-talk. You come to the conclusion again that it must be because your brain is too slow. It must be because you're easily distracted. It's just who you are, right? But let me ask you this question. Were all of these distractions also available to you in the first example, where you had a lot of excitement, a lot to get done, but very little time to do it in? The answer is yes. So what the hell is going on? Why is it that in one situation where you have so much to do, very little time, but somehow you find a way to get it done, and in another situation where you have lots and lots of time, maybe not as much to do, let's be honest with ourselves, and somehow you still run out of time to do it? It doesn't make any sense. Why does this happen? All of us have experienced this to some extent in our life. And it's not just a part of life. This is actually a really, really important learning curve for our self-awareness. Let's get into the breakdown of what's actually going on here. Your mind makes assumptions about what's going to happen based on what it already knows from the past, based on past recorded memory. And memory is just emotion. So when your mind is presented with something to look forward to, it creates an emotional charge through that memory, and that emotional charge creates clarity. It's amazing. It hasn't even happened yet, but your body still recognizes it, and you feel that emotion in your body before it's even happened. The clarity comes from your body anchoring into that future emotion, giving it something to look forward to, and now it's motivated to get there as soon as possible. So now you have the energy to get done whatever is in between where you are now and that future experience. And by the way, anxiety and fear can still live here. Just because you have clarity doesn't mean that you don't feel anxious or you don't feel scared. It just means that these emotions won't be getting in the way between where you are and your desired reality. On the other hand, in the second example where you have lots of time but still are unable to complete the task, your mind doesn't have enough motivation for the deadline or the task for which you have so much time for. It can't perceive any reward for the brain to want to switch into action. It doesn't mean that you can't create the emotional charge here for it to then associate that deadline or task with reward and then use that as motivation. But right now it has no motivation. But right now it wants to stop you from wasting time or energy into the thing which it has no reason to care about. So now it's sending all of these other things which it would rather be doing, because all of these things are associated to more reward in your mind than this deadline or task that you have to get done. The truth is that trying to fight distraction is actually a distraction in itself from the actual root cause. Fighting distraction or trying to fix distraction is like cutting the weed instead of removing it from the roots. There are two motivations in life. Either you can run away from something that's causing you pain, or you can run towards something which you are excited about, something that's uplifting. And this is exactly what attraction over distraction is. Because both are powerful, only one is sustainable. We all know that human beings are social beings, and we feed off the collective thoughts, the collective opinions. And I hear in too many conversations people normalizing being distracted or their brain is slow. And I don't think it's something to be normalized. But because so many other people are living life like that, a lot of us feel that it's okay as well, because it's a normal thing. So why should it be something that I should feel the need to change? But the truth is that so many people are suffering because that same normal collective ideology about the brain being slow or me being easily distracted is who I am is actually causing so much suffering, because it's just reinforcing your negative self-belief, which doesn't even need to exist because it has nothing to do with the capacity of your brain, or neither is it a testimony to your abilities. All we lack is some clarity and direction, which is only a couple of steps ahead of where we are now. All we need to do is have the courage to realize that there is nothing wrong with me, there's nothing wrong with my brain. I just haven't learned how to create that attraction, that association which pulls me so strongly that nothing can stand in the way. But luckily, there is a solution. And here are the 3 solutions that I've been able to come up with. If you have any more, send me a message, drop it into the comments below. So the first one, I've already mentioned it, but essentially it's reconsidering if that project or the thought, the task, the job, whatever it is, it's reconsidering if it's something that you actually really even care about, and then going on a journey to find out what is it that really lights you up, that really triggers that spark inside you, which you know you have, and then shifting in that direction. That's the first one. Number 2, another way that you can create emotional charge is by teaching your body how to feel joy, how to feel gratitude, how to feel excitement and gratitude and bliss, and associate that with the end result, with that reward that you want to have at the end of the deadline, at the end of the task, at the end of whatever it is that you need to get done. And the third solution is I'm not here to pretend that distractions don't exist. I'm not saying that once you have attractions, that's it. You don't have to worry about distractions, because it's still a very real thing. But I just believe that distractions, or trying to fix distractions, is not the primary problem. But not being attracted to something enough is actually the main problem, but we are focusing on the wrong thing. And once we are sure that we have something that we're genuinely attracted to, then the second step would be to figure out, okay, now what are the things that are getting in the way? And the second question in the back of your mind always should be, how can I increase my attraction? Because there will always be a way that you can increase your attraction to the thing that you want to get to. And every time I say attraction, I just want you to think emotional charge. So those are the 3 solutions. I would love to go into more detail, but we won't be doing that in this podcast. If you would love to hear in more detail about these 3 solutions individually, then drop a message in the comments below, leave a like, and I would love to make a second part to this podcast if you think that it would be valuable for you. I really believe that 2026 can be an insane year for you if you can learn to focus on what it is that you're truly attracted to, and then watch the magic happen as distractions become redundant and taking action becomes second nature. And if you feel like you need more clarity on what it is that you're truly attracted to, I would love to work with you to help you find that clarity. There is a link in the description of this podcast where we can get in touch, and we can jump on a free call where you will leave with much more awareness about where you are, where you want to go, and what's holding you back. Thank you for listening to the Glory of Growth podcast. And remember, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, there are things for you so good that you wouldn't even know to ask for them. Lots of love, Jotty. Boom! Boom! Boom shakalakala!